All right, I'm Brady Miller with GOHUNT, and today we have John Barklow here from Sitka, and we're going to rate our possibles pouches. If you give us a pass fail, he's going to roast us. I hope he really grills us really hard on what we're preparing for the mountains. If you don't know, John is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to backcountry survival, thriving out there, backcountry hunting. And that's why I think he's the man to tell us if this is a pass or fail. Great on here. So, what exactly your definition is a possibles pouch?
Yeah, so the reason I call it a possibles pouch by, say, a survival kit is because the intent of the possibles pouch, say back in the fur trading days of the mountain men, was these are essentials, a toolbox, think of it, that you would work out of and that it would cover down on your needs throughout the day or while you were out there, right? So for the modern day hunter, the reason I like to call it a possibles pouch by a survival kit is because, again, this is a toolbox. This should have things in there for contingencies, right? So things that we need to manage, be it first aid, be it, hey, we're disconnected from our pack or our truck and we need to spend the night out unplanned, right? And we want to have these things and we want to work out of that kit and we don't want to be afraid to break the seal, right? We're oftentimes, if we say, hey, this is a survival kit, we think, hey, we can't touch that unless we're surviving. The reality is when we're in the backcountry hunting, we're surviving. And so contingencies come up. I get a cut. You have something loose on your bow. We need to spend the night out and sit on a bull to protect it from bears and get out in the morning. So we want to start a fire, right? All those things are what a possibles pouch is for. So contingencies. That's why I like to call it that, because now people are more prone to use it and work from it and then train with it. And then when we do that, we replace those things before we go out the next time. So that's my definition of a possibles pouch and why I think it's so critical that we all have.
So we're going to now break down each one of our kits. We have Omars, Campos, Payton, and myself. And I think we're just doing the pass fail. I think it's a good grading system, pass fail.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, let's dive into it.
Yeah, so we're going to look at Brady's possible pouch. And the one thing I'd like to cover when I go over these with people and start to look through them is I think there's really 6 or 7 critical areas that a possibles pouch should cover. So when we go through it, let's see if you have some of those. So the first one is there should be the ability to have some type of shelter. So that doesn't mean you have to carry the shelter, okay? It means you have to have the ability to maybe create a shelter. Yeah. Now, if you don't have it in your possibles pouch, is it something that you're carrying, say, in a stocking pack? Is it something that you have in your optics harness, right? For me, if I'm not carrying, say, a space blanket or a tarp, do I have 550 cord? Maybe that's in my kill kit, maybe it's here, and a knife. And with that, I can fashion a lean-to or an A-frame, right? So the ability to do that, I think, is important. The ability to create a fire, right? So do you have a knife, not a scalpel, a knife? Do you have some tinder, right? Do you have a lighter? What does that look like? I think you need the ability to purify drinking water. So maybe you're caught out away from your backpack overnight. Hey, sometimes I haven't been able to find my backpack, right? But if I have that Nalgene, I can go dip it in that stream, maybe drop a couple chlorine dioxide tabs. Now I'm not going to make myself sick and my situation worse, and I'm going to try to maintain my hydration. The next one is I want the ability to signal. So we often think and fall back on and default to, hey, I've got an inReach, I've got a cell phone, but you know as good as I do that depending on where we are, if you're down in that hellhole, the other one is some type of food supplement. So it could be an energy gel, it could be some tabs, some gels or a goo or something like that. But that with some water keeps cognitive function working so that we don't, if let's say we made a bad decision that got us to the point we needed to use this, we don't want to exacerbate that. And so by having a little food, having a little water, keeps our mind working properly. We don't continue to make poor decisions. So, these are some of the top ones that I like to cover. And then we have the medical issues. And medical kits are kind of something wholly different. But I like to carry my medical kit with my possibles pouch because that's one of the probably biggest possibilities we're going to have is cuts, scrapes, headaches, allergies, diarrhea, whatever the case may be. And that's a whole nother conversation, but I'd like to have that medical kit in there and be able to cover down on at least the ABCs and the common ailments that we may face in the backcountry.
All right, so you can make fun of me. That's my first aid. That's all I got.
we can talk about this briefly. This is good.
Yep, so that's that. Got some
Let's just say there's no rights or wrongs. There's just better ways than others.
Yeah.
How about that?
I do have a lot of contacts, and
Right.
I do bring
Well,
my eyeglasses
but
because
that's
I
critically
am
important.
I am blind as a bat. So literally, if I don't have my contacts in, I can't see anything. I have to have my hand.
That's a great example of a customization of a hospital's pouch for you.
Yep,
I don't
have
need that.
and I need to have my eyeglasses with
There
me
you
at all
go.
times.
Love it.
Water filtration at my stereo pen. I have 2 knives. Like I said, I don't just have a scalpel. I actually have a knife for some,
Yep. Excellent.
duty work.
Well, the reason I think you need something besides a scalpel is a tool really for caping, right? For fine work. But if we need to chop or hack or, saw, a scalpel's not going to do it. We're going to break that blade, right? And then that becomes a whole issue unto itself.
I have some gear repairs, some tenacious tape.
Awesome.
Got a backup headlamp in here. Usually always charged. Always have electrical tape, just in case I need to fix something. Extra rangefinder battery, that just
Yep.
kind of goes in here.
Yep.
I do have a bunch of cordage for charging different things. Charge pack is not in here, but it would be. Pyro putty for some pyro starter. I have backup fire starting Ested tablets, in case I need those. Lighter, bunch of extra blades for the scalpel. I do have some electrolyte pills, some Advil, that sort of thing. There's also little salt pills, a carabiner. I do have some stakes for my tarp going here. And then for some reason, I have my toothbrush and toothpaste in here.
Perfect.
And I have an extra set of earplugs. And then just a little carry.
Great. So, pass, right? But now let's look at some improvements.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly trying to improve mine as well. So, first of all, I think the size and the weight is about perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have mine in like a fanny pack because I can pull it out and snap it on. And so if I'm going on a stalk and I'm dropping my pack or
good
leaving
point.
my buddy, boom, I snap it on, I can go, it's there, right?
You're not
If
afraid-
I want to work from it, I can work from it. I know I'm not putting it down
Yeah.
and then having to pick it up and walk away from it. But I think the size and the weight is perfect. I think that most of what you have in there is good. I think one thing I did mention that maybe we should consider is a couple tools.
Yep, I don't
does
have
it
any
does it
tools.
does a turret or something get loose, or your sight, a couple Allen wrenches, something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know if I saw a lighter.
I have a lighter right here.
You have a
I'll probably
lighter.
skip through that really quick.
But I know I don't want to go too deep, but let me
that's
just
a fail right
but
there.
but let me just talk about the med kit. So literally, this med kit looks like it came from 1997 Russia. That they somehow escaped on, with some defector. I guarantee you that these things are out of date, expired.
I don't even
stick.
think Band-Aids have any stickiness to it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a classic thing we all do, which is we have a med kit, and once we build it, we never touch it. Or if we touch it, we pull a Band-Aid out like I did the other day. But you have to go through and work through expired meds, quick clots, even tourniquets, right? So
Yep.
the med kit is something wholly personal and built to your expectations, but it's something we have to constantly evolve. It's not like, this probably would not wear out or your eye drop stuff, but that probably would. And so we need to just make sure we're going back and replenishing. The beginning of every season is when I do it, and then I don't think about it.
It's kind of like my hybrid kill kit, possible pouch, but it has all the
Absolutely.
it's all essential.
Well, and so that's kind of the last comment I would make about a hospital's pouch is people say, well, where's this, where's that? And I'm like, this is supplementing what I've already got. So if I have a signal mirror in my optics harness, I'm not going to carry a signal mirror here. Or a
Yeah.
whistle on my pack, I don't necessarily have to carry one.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be redundant,
But
but you should make sure you're covering down, right? So if I have a piece of foam pad that I know I can splint your broken arm with, I don't have to necessarily carry a splint. You
Yep.
can choose to, that's up to you, but it's supplemental to other things you may have.
I'm Brian, and this is my hospital pouch. Got a big seek outside bag. I like to stay organized, so I have multiple bags inside. First aid, we can get into that. Another hospital pouch basically for the kill kit side. Kind of the random stuff. A couple batteries and emergency blanket. Some paracord. Kind of my fire starter kit. I got matches, I got those S-bit fire starter cues, which are amazing. Pyro putty, all that stuff in there. I have a stereo pin, super handy. Got basically like a big baby wipe. Got some hydrate and recover, so I can stay hydrated. Got a tick key. This is very critical.
Wow.
Electrical tape, for communication. Got the Zoleo. Another option for water purification or filtration is the Platypus Quick Draw. Simple, lightweight headlamp. I also keep one battery opposite in there so it doesn't turn on like lose battery while it's.
Yeah, no, that's a great trick. I do the same.
And there, I got some flagging tape wrapped around a pen.
In case you got to write some checks while you're out there.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Just some basic hand sanitizer wipes. And then for extra energy and cognitive function and some high chews.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, I guess we can get into this actually. Kill kit side. I got gloves. Got a really nice saw you can use for multiple things. I got a blade remover for Havalon. Regular knife. Knife sharpener. That's it for the kill kit side. For first aid. Okay, and the trauma packs with the quick clot gauze in there. Does have duct tape in there also. Not sure what this is called. This is one of those wraps, kind of like a tourniquet.
Mm-hmm.
You got some heavy bleeding.
Like a pressure bandage.
Yeah, an actual tourniquet. I don't know if I said I have some medicine in there. It's ibuprofen, some basics. I need to get more medicine in there.
Yeah, but I mean, Brian, like past, you've covered down on kind of every aspect of what we talked about, right? I thought you were calling me a big baby for a second there, but you said you had a big baby wipe, so that's even cooler. And what Brian's really done is he's taken his Possibles pouch, but he's integrated several other pouches, right? So we talked about, I like to put my med kit with my Possibles pouch. I'd like to have it in a separate kit like you. He's included his kill kit in part of that. I think that's really cool. You can certainly do that. That's why your Possibles pouch is a little bigger than say Brady's, right? Because you integrated that kill kit.
Yep.
It's really about, there's not a lot of right and wrongs. It's about what you're comfortable with, right? And so I'd say you've clearly thought through this. I think you've covered down on every aspect that you probably need. You know, as long as you're training with it, comfortable with it, it looks like you use it and carry it, I think you're good to go.
Cool. Maybe a little redundant with 2 water filter options.
But again, that's what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not wrong. But do you need that if you have something similar in your backpack, right? So if in your backpack is your primary, do you need that? That's just a question you can ask yourself. Again, there's no right or wrong.
Sure.
All right, so Hayden, look at your Possibles pouch, or it might be an attaché case, I'm not sure, and see what you got in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just use a little travel case that, you know, every now and then take a trip, just take everything out, put toiletries in there. But for season, this main pocket here, I got a little sewing kit. Got some extra thread, some needles. You never know when you're going to need it. Little scissors. Never know when you're going to need something like that. I could use this curved hook for sutures or maybe fishing line.
Yeah. So I see that this says USN.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that stands for U.S. Navy.
It does.
Were you in the U.S. Navy?
I was in the Air Force on the Navy.
All right, you failed.
All right.
Immediately. Go ahead. Next.
I got a lighter and a flashlight. I also have a whistle with a little built-in compass on it. Not the greatest, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
I got some glow sticks, some signal flares, just in case.
Signal
Never know.
flares, nice.
Like you said, if you're winded, can't speak, I can crack one of those real quick and, hey, I'm right here, come get me, I need help. Yep. I got an actual utility knife with fire starter with it, just extra secure. That's something I can use, hack up a little limb, make myself a shelter. My scalpel I use to, skin gut. I got that in my other bag. I don't need to really worry about having one here besides that. I got an actual little travel med kit here, just CPR face shield, some gloves, splinter, tape, gauze, you name it, it's probably in there. A little bit overkill feet cord, but some reflective line just in case, I need to build myself a shelter. I also got a little snake bite kit.
Okay.
Just, I got a fear of snakes. I feel like it's going to be useful, so I got one.
You live down here.
I live down here.
Yeah, so you definitely important.
Yes, I feel yours.
Yeah.
I got a couple
Wet tenders.
wet tenders, yes sir. Side pockets here. I got an actual tourniquet. And this one, I got nail cutters. You never know. You can use them to cut many different things need be. An actual just wrap in case of spraining an ankle. I just need to wrap something up. I don't need a tourniquet. I don't need the gauze. Just quick little patch.
So I was joking when I said he failed. He failed at life because he joined the Air Force. But no, I'd say pass. And the reason I say that is you've put thought into it. You've assembled it. You can walk through your logic, and you know where everything is. a little bit different than say Brady's, right?
Right.
But let's talk through that. Brady, my guess is, has more years of experience in the mountains, right? And so with that experience comes an evolution of that possibles pouch, where maybe you're not quite there. My only comment to you is love what you have, love your capability. I would say work on over time, scaling down the weight and the size so that you're not coming up with excuses to not bring that. So as an example, if you have your pack loaded, you're going to go out for an overnight or 2 nights, and you've got everything loaded, you're like, oh man, possibles pouch. Yeah, not enough room, not leaving food, not leaving water. You're going to leave the possibles pouch. I've done it before, right? It's human nature. And so work through that, maybe even break up some of these items into different areas. You know, what I like to carry personally, instead of this, say, sew kit, is I'll bring a sail needle and I'll bring some serving thread for my bow. And with those 2 things, I can repair something. So, you know, just look at multifunctional pieces of kit that you can maybe leave some things behind, or maybe, you know, go to a smaller tourniquet or go to smaller P-cord or something like that.
Right.
But just work towards that. But you've clearly put the thought into it and can talk through it. And I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I definitely need to revisit it, and I think some water purification. That didn't occur to me. I was just going to drink straight out of a stream if I found one. But
Yeah. So, that will satiate you at first. You're probably not going to get giardia because it takes 7 to 10 to 14 days. Took 15 days for me for onset. You're probably out of the field. But if you're dehydrated, or if you have to sit there for 48 hours for, say, your buddies to come get you because you broke your ankle, and you drink contaminated water, and now you get diarrhea, and you've dehydrated yourself for the next 2 days, when you're trying to hydrate yourself, when they come to get you, you're going to be a lot worse shape, and you're not going to be able to help yourself. Help them help you get out of the mountains.
Right.
So we just don't want to compound and make our situation worse. So yeah, that's something you should consider.
absolutely. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So Omar, you and I were talking a little earlier when I came in today, and you're relatively new to hunting, right? So what, within a year?
I mean, like 2 years, but like relatively new into like taking those, 5+ days out.
Yeah.
Of that country.
Okay, fantastic. So this would be great to compare and contrast, say, against for you, right?
Yep.
Who you've hunted with.
My mentor.
So first of all, I'm going to have to give you a cursory pass at first without looking, just because you have a possibles pouch.
Yep.
Even though you called it a plausible pouch,
Yep.
okay? You understand the intent,
Yep.
and that's what's important, is that you have it.
Yep.
But as we go through this, it's going to be interesting because your experience and what you've learned clearly from some really good people here, but your limited experience based on others that have more, is going to be really cool to see and see what you've kind of assembled.
Yeah. So let's take a dive. Right away off the bat, 550 cord. It's a little broken up right now because we were lucky enough to hang up some meat. So probably like one of those things where I need to go in and replace it.
Yep.
I actually like looking at Brady's. I already see like an area of improvement. Saves a couple ounces, but he's got like that really fine cord. I don't know exactly what it's called, slick rip or something. But like that's an area where I want to, this is pretty much toast. It's not the 50 feet anymore. Can maybe put in a kill kit as extra paracord. But that's like an area of improvement that I already want right there. So paracord, diving into some salt sticks. I like running, so I always have these around. I always go like on 9, 20-mile rips running, and especially in like Las Vegas, you lose a lot of sweat, so you need those electrolytes back. So I put those in my pack. I got extra moleskin. Feet are going to be one of those spots where they always break down first. So I want to always have extra moleskin just in case. I got some super glue. Still haven't used it, but it's fairly lightweight, and I think it could serve a purpose maybe someday. It's kind of one of those TBD things, but it still makes the kit. It's lightweight. Doesn't matter. Some Tylenol in here. I got some extra lens wipes. It's just 2. Again, you never know if you're gonna, maybe forget your optics cleaning kit, something. So lightweight makes the pack. Some tenacious tape, some pyro putty, and then I got in here some the Thermarest like repair kit. I already had to use this, unfortunately, on the last bear hunt. So I already got home. My sleeping pads already tapped in here. I think one of the learnings is going in and then finding again. And then I got some extra headlamp batteries in there. I got a lens pen in here, Vortex lens pen. I got 2 small lighters, a shot of double espresso, 100 milligram caffeine, just in case I need it. Some extra, what is this? Drinking water tablets.
Yep.
And then this is probably like the area that I need the most improvement, but it's just a little crappy knife. So that's the possible pouch that I got.
Yeah, so again, you know, we'll call it a pass, right? But there's always room for improvement. So let's talk through just a couple of those things. You said immediately, you're like, well, I already used this on a bear and I haven't replenished it. So again, a possibles pouch is something we want to work from. We don't want to be afraid of that, but we want to come back and replenish that before we go out again, right? So oftentimes for me, it's like I take care of my gear first, and then I don't have to think about it again, and then I can go take care of myself or whatever it is.
Right.
The thing I love about parachute cord by some of the other stuff, not that anybody else has shown, but I can pull the guts out of the parachute cord. I can, let's say I break a boot lace, I can pull the guts out or just use a piece of parachute cord to replace the boot lace. But if I have to, say, tie something up, but then I also want to like make some snares, or I need to fish because I'm out there for a week, like I can pull the guts out and use those for one thing and the sheath for something else. So parachute cord's got a lot of uses. You talked about super glue, big bottle, but super glue is really good for things like blister repair, right? So this and some Leukotape may be a really good option. You could probably get a smaller bottle, but you can use that for repair. You can use Leukotape and super glue to repair thermobest, right? If you put a hole in it. So multiple uses. You could have duct tape, you know, wrapped around that lens pen if you wanted, or Leukotape, and so you could use it for that. I would say that you're a little light, so I don't see any signaling, so probably want to work on some non-electronic signaling, right? So a panel, a mirror, a whistle, something along those lines. You definitely want to work on the knife. And, you know, I could do like a Derek Zoolander. What is this? A little knife for children who, you know, it's like you're not going to be able to do a whole lot with that, but you already identified that, right? So that's something you could work on. Just get, you know, doesn't have to be big, but just something reasonable, something sturdy, a fixed blade knife that you can carry that would fit in that kit. I think there's a few things you could potentially leave behind, but, you know, work through that. You've got, you know, water, fire, essentially shelter. You've got some basic repair. You need to work on signaling. And then you've got, I would say, bare bones minimum, med kit. I don't see, you know, bandages, butterflies, things like that, and that you need to work through. But you're on your way. And like I said, the reason you definitely get a pass is because as young as you are to this, you've learned from some good mentors, and you've already got a possibles pouch, and that's a huge step forward. And a lot of people that have done this for a couple of decades don't have it. But like I said, great job. Always room for improvement, to include myself.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Appreciate, John, you breaking down a possible pouch. And I know we all know what we need to add, remove, go back home, re-look at this again, get it ready for the season. Like you said, right after you're done hunting, you should, you know, look at your kit, find those holes, fix it, add things to it. So I got some work to do, I know. Yeah, I really enjoyed this process. It was really fun, really good video series.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys letting me have some fun with you and walk through it. I'll tell you that if you were in my barn right now, I've got my possibles pouch and my med kits laid out. It's something I've been thinking about. I've been doing some videos on. I've been talking about it in training. It's something I'm constantly evolving and going through. And next time I'll bring mine so that you guys can judge mine based on what I said, and then we can make it maybe an even more playing field. But I appreciate that. Yeah,
That'd be a
thanks.
fun video.
I have to take some of your gear too.